Goedenavond everybody and welcome to the VRP Dutch Grand Prix. Very exciting race today around the Zandvoort circuit. Unfortunately for this session it is only me commentating. I'm not yet going to be joined by my good friend Scott. However, he should be back for the race. If you missed it last week, Lewis took an absolutely dominant victory around Silverstone to take an absolute stranglehold of the championship in the absence of Rapid. However, Rapid's influence is coming into the forefront from what we're hearing. As Speak of the Devil, Lewis is coming out of the pit lane now. He has been training up Zauber, and apparently his time trial times are looking very, very impressive. So, possibly a good chance for him today, after a honestly quite miserable start to the season. So, Dutch Grand Prix today, a very, very fast, difficult circuit. A lot of corners, such as Tarzan, which we're going through now, have multiple lines which are quick, as Lewis letting a couple of cars by. That are being RPL Jordan and the Alpine of Leroy. No, not Leroy. Has a time. So Jordan should be the first on a lap. However, has a time. Sorry, I forgot his name. Bloody hell. Hamilton going very slowly at the end of the second sector. Need to make sure on medium tyres, as Lewis once again goes back through to be the first driver on a lap. We'll ride on board with him like we did last week. If it's anything like last week, he should have this wrapped up relatively quickly. Going around the final corner now, flat out bank corner with DRS. A very exhilarating corner onto the main straight. Starting the lap now. Tricky medium speed turn one hairpin. Not the greatest opportunity for overtaking. Gets it through nicely. Through lift off section now through Tarzan, opting to take a quite low line. Opposite to what they usually take in Formula 1. Now racing up the hill. A flat out sweeping section through the blindingly fast right hand corner. Keeps it nice and steady. Maybe a little twitch on exit to another high-speed right-hander, braking very heavily into a deceptively slow right-hander. Now through a very similar left-hand corner and onto the RS straight. Another wobble there from Lewis. Let's see his sector 2 time of 47.5, getting beautifully slowed down into the slow section of corners, possibly running a little bit wide, however. We now enter the final couple of corners, and this has been orchestrated beautifully by Ferrari. Lewis getting a perfect tow from his teammate. Because my hazard sets a 113.0 and Lewis obliterates it with a 108.4. That is wow. Right. Jordan abandons his lap. Who else is just finishing? Leroy goes only a few tenths off of Lewis. Very close for him. As I'm just going to send the stream link into the chat. There we go. Miku with a very impressive 4th place finish after all was said and done last week. On debut, 12 points. Very valuable. Post made about that on the VRP Instagram today, where he has just in one race outscored Damazo3, who is not on the track at the moment, in all of his time racing. Disco Rank 69 abandoning his lap behind the Aston Martin of not Alfonso. Oh no, he didn't abandon, he just... How odd. Alfonso is on a lap, however, and wasn't far off Lewis's time, attacking that inside curb at the penultimate corner. DRS wide open. Well, this lap put him, it looks very competitive, and it's P2. Only a tenth, less than a tenth behind Rapid Lewis. One thing is for sure, that lap was very rapid. Disputed Cloud, a couple of tenths down through sector 2. Bino goes P3 as well. Disputed Cloud, P8. Who else is on a lap? Dylan just finishes a lap and goes into P5. The McLaren's doing very well at the moment. Not using the teamwork they've displayed so far in races such as China this season, but still a very good position for both drivers. Yannick coming up to close on his lap, a little bit down on Lewis, about 9 tenths at the moment. You see, rounding the penultimate corner, quite far away from that inside curb, unlike Afonso. VRS wide open now to go onto the main straight. Keeps quite a tight line, and it's a 109.6, putting him just behind his teammate by less than a 10. Dowers just starting his first lap now. A bit of a wobble coming out of T1 through the very tricky turns 2 and 3, now into Tarzan. Again, opting to keep the low line, not wanting to run up the hill. That's what we've seen from everyone so far. You see, rounding the fast right-hander. Not much of a lift as Charlie's retired. Charlie's had a crash coming out of the final corner. Into the final corner, sorry. Dowers has a huge wobble there. So I think that's Charlie on preparation for his lap, crashing out. Very costly mistake for the Haas driver. Dowers about 1.1 seconds off of Lewis at the moment on this lap, showing purple sector 2. I'm guessing it means there's a personal best. Round the very steeply banked final corner now. And where will this lap put him? Into P12. Just outside the top 10, but very much in reach of drivers like Yannick and Disputed Cloud. However, Omar a big leap in front in P9. Disco mark up into P8 as well, decent for him. Jordan is on a lap as well. Let's see where this puts him as of the sector 2 split. Only about half a second off of Lewis. So this could put him in very good position, possibly into that top 5 or 6. Coming through the penultimate corner, abusing that outside curb. DRS wide open onto the main straight, and it's a 109.4. Possibly not a great final sector compared to his rivals, and he slots in just in front of LMB Strikes, who had a very entertaining race last week. Caught up in a lot of incidents of very great racing. I'm pretty sure he was in the Red Bull last week as well, so he's fully switched allegiances for this race. Harry's just about to finish his first time lap, quite a bit off of Lewis through the second sector, and goes P11, just behind Jordan. Bit of a gaggle of cars, and Lewis improves again. I didn't even realise he was on a lap. And that puts him 3 tenths clear of the field. Miku, P6 at the moment, slightly up on his sector 2, but nowhere near the pace of Lewis and Afonso. Both clearly in front, and he abandons the lap. He's invalidated. Just spotted that. Jordan down, Harry down, LMB Strikes down, Disputed Cloud looks to be pushing his second push lap through the final corner now, and moves up into P11. Decent improvement there for Disputed Cloud. Yannick slightly up through sector 1. So look, Dylan just starting a lap. Darth FIFA just starting a lap in a very impressive P5 for Red Bull, possibly filling the shoes that Rapid left. Zauber on his outlap, possibly serving a qualifying restriction in this session, has a time on a lap. Currently the only driver who has set a time slower than 1 minute 10. Going uphill, doesn't seem to be using a lot of the RS, and he's 2 tenths down. Yannick aborts the lap, undisputed cloud on an in lap. See how Dylan's doing on his lap. Going through sector 2, he's 2 tenths up. This could put him in a very good position. Could possibly put him up into P4 right behind his teammate. And look at this, I alluded to this earlier. The McLaren teamwork is back. Dylan getting a beautiful tow from his teammate to send him up into P2. Very good job there from the McLaren. Alonso has just started a lap. Well, this point he was over a tenth up in Sector 1, looking to reclaim that front row spot. The very impressive Sector 1, driving very smoothly at the moment. Yellow flags on the start-finish straight. Very, very fast for Alfonso here. Let's see where this puts him on the Sector 2 split. Improves slightly, still good for P2, although maybe a little bit of a mistake in the chicane. We'll have a look how much this affects him. Not abusing that curve as much as he did on last lap. Going through the final corner now and he's backed off. Into the pit lane. Bino coming around the penultimate corner now. Not abusing that outside curve either as much as other drivers have been. Doesn't abort the lap. He goes into... He retakes P2. McLaren 2-3 at the moment. Omar is not on a representative lap. Zauber's gone up into P11. Very good for him. Ahead of some drivers who he's usually some way off of. Has a time, improves, although still not in the 1 minute 10s. LMB Strikes just sets a 1 minute 9.4. Who else? Omar just setting up a lap. LMB going for 2 push laps in a row. Not too sure. Coming up the hill, he's still using his ERS, and he's over a tenth up. A tenth up may not sound like a lot, but 110 takes him from P15 to P12. The Dammers goes into P10 as well with a 109.2. Such a close midfield pack at the moment. LMB, let's see where he goes in Sector 2. He's 2 tenths up. This could take him into P12, although he just gets the gravel at the chicane. That's bound to cost him a bit of time. Darth FIFA also on a lap at the moment, it looks like. And he looks to be... No, he doesn't abort the lap and goes into P12. Darth FIFA... That doesn't sound right. Yeah, that's correct. 200th down. Not the greatest Sector 1 for Darth FIFA. Doesn't have to improve a lot to get up into the top 5. Only a couple hundred, running very wide. Possibly conserving a bit of exit speed, but possibly costing lap time. Is there a bit of teamwork going on within the Red Bull family? It's an AlphaTauri giving him a tow. He's now slightly up into still P7. Coming round the penultimate corner now, using that inside curb and outside curb. And the curb on the final corner. We haven't seen anyone doing that yet. Comes to the line, and it's P5, a very good final sector. Gaining a lot of time where he missed out. Dylan, on the other hand, doesn't... Jordan, on the other hand, doesn't look to be on a representative lap. Miku was up, but crashed. Disco Mark on a push lap, currently just inside that top 10. He's slightly down through the first sector, but still a lot of the lap left to go. There's plenty of time to get him through some of these high speed corners. And there's a spin in front of me, that's a Red Bull. Who will that be? That will be Darth FIFA spinning, possibly ruining Ben's lap. And Ben's backed off. Yeah, he will be furious with that. Lewis going out for what I would guess is his final out lap. Yes, only 3 minutes left to go of the second. Vaxi as well is on not on a lap. Who is furthest along on their out lap at the moment? Not Zauber. It looks to be a disputed Cloud. Or Omar. Not Omar, it is disputed Cloud. Who apparently improved. I don't see it, but we're through the first sector now. Very fast through turn 3 into Tarzan, taking a very slightly higher line than what other drivers have been doing, and he's backed off. He's backed off. Clearly not feeling like it was satisfactory. Omar's just starting a lap, but all eyes, I believe, are on the man currently in another dominant pole position. It's a much shorter lap around here at Zandvoort, so much less time to gain in theory, but somehow Lewis just goes and does it. Through the start-finish line now, coming to start his final lap of the session through turn 1, keeping it a little bit wider and off the apex to conserve a bit of exit speed. Now through the fast section before Tarzan, keeping it nice and low and a bit wider on exit, possibly to conserve exit speed. And welcome back, Scott, right at the end of qualifying.
Hello everybody, here for the entertaining part of qualifying. Hopefully Adam's been keeping you lot company. I'm sure that this session as well has been keeping you lot company as well. Looks good at the moment, but there's still plenty of time to go, still some more flying laps, plenty of outlaps on the tower. We could be in for a real treat here.
Yep, Lewis was purple through Sector 1 on his final flying lap. Let's see where it puts him into Sector 2. Nearly 2 tenths up. Could he break into the 107s? This could be another dominant pole position here, as we saw in Silverstone last week. In case you have missed it, and in the case of Scott, you have missed it, McLaren teamwork is back. And Lewis doesn't break into the 107s. He doesn't have the greatest Sector 3, but still improves by over a 10. Dylan in the second sector not improving as it stands, 600 down.
Oh no, wait, is that first sector? No, it's not.
No,
I thought Winner was looking for...
a little bit bored. Bino.
Wait.
No, he isn't. He's 700 down.
Oh, there.
Yeah. Let's see where Dylan is. He's slightly up through Sector 2. Not enough to disrupt his teammate at the moment, though. Coming through the final couple of corners now. Taking a bit of a wider line through the penultimate corner. Hopefully that doesn't...
Afonso
and Dylan's aborted. Dylan has aborted.
If Afonso's a 10th up in the first sector, which would put him in front of Dylan.
I put him...
Yeah, he's one of the hits.
I put him right into the clutches of Bino as well. If Bino isn't improving, we'll have a look. Bino's time. Does it fall through 108, 409? No, it doesn't. Afonso really using that inside curb there as he approaches the penultimate corner of the lap, using every bit of track possible, taking a very tight line. 10th and a half up. DRS wide open. And P2 for Afonso, unless anyone can challenge him. Darth FIFA is up on his lap.
Oh, Leroy's 2 tenths up on his lap time. Could break into the top 5 here. If he gets a good final sector.
Darth FIFA improves his lap, but not his position. Leroy doesn't improve his position either. Zauber into Sector 2.
Tim's on a good one. Tim gets P5 here.
And he does. Very good lap from the Ferrari. Whoa. Split by 10 thousandths of a second. Zauber very much down on his lap. And Harry is off the track. That looks to be the grid set. Lewis on pole again by just over 2 tenths over Afonso.
What happened to Charlie? Do you have a quality ban, or is he...
He crashed out on entry to a lap. At the final corner. Wow. On entry of the final corner. So I guess he's just got on the curb and lost it.
I was going to say, you can't open DRS like, during the corner, can you? So it can't open that either. Oh, strange one there. Unless the setup was just a little bit too less on the rear wing. Ended up just losing it. But, yeah, unlucky for Charlie there. But yet again, we find ourselves seeing that Ferrari at the top of the grid. The two McLarens in the race could be interesting, but a Ferrari sandwich in the top 5 there, though, could make things interesting. And of course, it is VRP. We're not exactly, it's not exactly unlikely to have safety cars during the race to throw different sort of things into the mix. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Even the weather as well. You never know. We might see a bit of a flag-to-flag race.
As we saw last year in actual F1, the weather can change very quickly at this circuit. Maybe a bit of rain. A bit of rain would throw this whole race into oblivion.
Especially if drivers have got their drive setups on as well. You start putting in that less grip of the wet conditions, and it could make things very interesting. But quality's been interesting enough so far, though. How will the race be?
Hopefully entertaining. I have not... Out of the races we've commentated together, they've all been absolutely exceptional. Bar maybe Imola.
Yeah.
Which was the Burt Mylander show.
Endless drama in VRP as the drivers getting ready. And the drivers will be applying.
I thought
their
for
strategies.
a second.
Well, it's looking quite dark, but in terms of strategy, I think the medium to hard is probably one of the safer strategies. Maybe some drivers going for a soft to hard or something. But I think this is quite a high deg track, with just how undulating the corners are and how unforgiving they are on the tyres.
A lot of high speed.
A lot of off throttle moments as well, causing the tyres to slide. So it could be a bit of a killer for tyres. So I can imagine a lot of drivers will prioritise strategy over track position here. Although saying that, it is a very difficult track to overtake on, isn't it?
It is. I mentioned in qualifying that turn 1, unlike on most circuits, is not a very good overtaking opportunity.
Into turn 1, maybe, but you have to set that up like about 3 corners beforehand.
You need a Daniel Ricciardo-esque dive bomb. And unlike last week, we do have a formation lap. Looking at the tyres, we do have a bit more of a mix than usual. Most notably, Dylan on the softs.
As well as the back 3 on softs as well, so maybe a very aggressive strategy there. And then Miku, only driver on the hards at the moment, sat right in the middle of the grid. Wonder what that will do for him. Maybe that might open his race up a little bit, because if he goes long on those hards, he might be able to go soft towards the end. If there's a safety car towards the sort of middle to latter stage of the race, he might be able to put on mediums if he sticks to those hards. So it's not a bad shout there, but yeah, definitely some very aggressive choices on the grid.
I think the one to watch has to be Dylan here. Starting on that soft tyre, approximately 7-8 tenths a lap faster, and he was not that far off of Lewis in the qualifying session we've just had.
I don't know how much teamwork will be there, though. I don't know if Bino will be willing to give up the position, considering how hard it is to overtake around this track. I don't know if you get much of an advantage being on the softs. Again, it might help you set up the overtakes, but if you can't get them done, then you're kind of just wasting tyre life there. So it'd be interesting to see how he takes this at the moment. But any early predictions for you, Adam?
My early prediction: Zauber to score points.
He's already broken my record, so fair enough. Early predictions. I think we'll see a safety car before lap 5. But in terms of race winning predictions, I think you can't go wrong with saying Lewis. I would say a surprise podium. I kind of feel like we're going to see 2 Ferraris on the podium. Tim had an amazing lap 1 around Silverstone, which if you didn't see that is on the VRP Instagram, so make sure you give that a follow and give that video a watch as well, where he had an amazing start from P18 on the grid and drove his way up through the field within the first lap.
But 4 cars just disqualified there.
Yeah, might have stacked up a little bit towards the end there, and of course drivers trying to find their places, trying to go for these really aggressive starting positions as well. You see some funny angles. Drivers darting in.
There's been a lot of
from that back view there.
There's been a lot of talk about stacking up in F1 in the past couple of days. And coincidentally, an AlphaTauri and an Aston Martin involved. The lights are coming on now. And They've gone out and no one's gone.
Couple seconds.
And we're red flagged. It's happened again. It's happened again. If I had a nickel for every time a red flag was shown at the start of a race, I would have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird it's happened twice.
Well, the drivers, if they got any tyre strategy now, although going off of what happened last time, we may have a lobby reset, but I hope we don't.
No, we didn't last time.
Did we not? For China?
No, we didn't.
Oh, fair enough.
It was Imola we had the lobby reset, I think.
Ah, alright, I'm talking rubbish. Alright.
So if it's anything like China, wait for the start, please. It's completely dry. As the lights are coming out now.
Oh, everyone on mediums, that might... Oh, are they allowed to do that?
I think the game was just auto-set and we're underway as Lewis gets a very good start. Dylan will be absolutely furious with this, but you can't really complain. Lewis, very far in front, well, not very far in front, but quite far in front of Alfonso already, almost half a second. Couple of moves going down the grid side by side through Tarzan. The Williams of Jordan and placed him going side by side through that corner as the yellow flag, and that's Albert. That's Albert, and he's Disputed Cloud is out. There's a virtual safety car already. Your prediction is correct. We have had we've got a safety car by lap 5.
It's a massive incident there. Zalba went into the wall. I thought that was his race over, but it looked like, Zalba was more on traction, but I wonder if Disrupted Cloud's DNF was due to drivers checking up and moving out the way of other drivers. It looks like he may have been collected and he's gone heavy into that inside wall. Front tyre ripped off, and unfortunately that's his race over before the end of the first lap. You've got to feel bad for him as we have a full safety car now being confirmed. Bert Mylander getting more laps at the moment than Disputed Cloud, it will look like. And I wonder how many points Bert Mylander will get at the end of the season. If you finish the race with 9 drivers, you've got to award some points to him for the amount of laps he's completed.
Surprised that the VRP Instagram admin did not award him with a driver of the day. Reading the chat, apparently LMB may have been involved in that incident.
It does, yeah. It's very rare to spin right there, or at least where Disputed Cloud did, unless he had a prolonged...
Has a time into the pits as well, as he picked up damage from it.
3 drivers into the pits, yep, taking advantage of this early safety car. I wonder how much of that's for damage, how much of that isn't. Zalba definitely will be, lost his wing. Hard tyres going on for Hazard
time is strategy. Charlie is front wing.
New wing and softs.
Oh, looking to be a bit racy. Hazard time on the hard. Zalba onto the mediums.
Used mediums as well. That's
very ooh.
Unless that was no.
How
that's confusing. Unless that's a glitch, but I doubt he's unless he put them on quality. But I don't remember. Well, I was only there 2 minutes, but
the only driver I think who used mediums in that qualifying session was RPL Jordan, I believe. Not sure about Zalba. Anyway, our new race leader, Bernd Mylander.
Oh wait, unless those are the mediums he started the race on, like the previous race. So he would have been put on a brand new set of mediums, and then when he's put those ones on, that would have been formation lap, and the first lap I guess come back to the pits, I guess. But I don't know, it's difficult. That's just a theory. But anyway,
game theory.
I was waiting for that.
The door was open.
Yep.
If you no longer go for a gap that exists, you're no longer a racer. Unbelievable stuff.
Well, a pretty subdued start. We haven't really seen much racing. We've already seen a red flag. We've already seen a safety car. Although we haven't seen a green flag lap yet, which is average Zandvoort, I guess, as Lewis is trying to race the safety car for some reason.
But Mylander's got some stiff competition here. He looks round the outside of turn 1. Lewis looking very racing. Will he have a look into Tarzan? He is very close there to the back of the Aston Martin. Thinks Bettero's making the move, however.
And has a time back in the pits onto that old set of mediums. So unless he's just gone to get his one pit stop out the way, so we can try and maybe go medium all the way to the end. Maybe not that many stops, but you know what I mean by that.
It's possible. I've made fewer pit stops in the league race before.
Yeah.
Sorry, more.
So at the moment, Charlie being the odd one out, but maybe not the weakest link, as he's in 17th place with those soft tyres. He want to race his way through the field, but as we talked about earlier, it's quite difficult to overtake round here unless he's able to pull off some really smart moves around the outside. That's the only way he can really maybe get an advantage over those mediums, but it's all about setting up the overtakes around a track like this.
And in this lap, Bert Mylander not being patient today like he was in Imola. Very good stuff for us. We do have, in the comments, we do have an Alfonso support group.
Hey.
So that group in the comments will be very much hoping for a good restart for the Aston Martin. We'll ride on board with him for this restart. Lewis still waiting. Alfonso still looking to heat up his tyres with a little bit of a weave, and he's gone on the exit of the final corner. It's not his best restart ever. However, Bino is all over the back of Alfonso, going side by side in turn one now. Right on the outside, do they make contact? Contact, and Alfonso's
around.
He keeps the position though, very lucky.
Darth at the inside, he's getting really racy between the Red Bull and the McLaren.
And the Ferrari! Will the Ferrari look to go on the outside? It's 2x2, it's pack racing. It's almost like NASCAR. 3 or 4 wide up the hill. There's 4 cars all going. There's another yellow flag in sector 1. It's Harry. And somehow they all single out. How have none of those made contact there?
Brilliant racing there from those drivers there. It's like a roller coaster here, just one lane. Oh, there's almost contact there between Leroy and Blaze Tim, but really close there between the Alpine driver and the Ferrari driver, but they get out alive.
Both the AlphaTauri teammates as well, pretty much side by side with each other. So have a look, and Disco Mark has gone through. LMB pretty much riding that curve. Charlie's had a very good restart lap, all the way up to P14 already. However, Lewis almost 2 seconds up the road already.
Oh, looks like Zalba might have had an incident there, might have just had a slight spin. Yellow flags through sector 3, but looks like he's all okay.
Good stuff. I did predict points for him, and he's back in the pits.
Retire in the pits. Oh, really? Your prediction?
The ultimate commentator's curse. Still nose to tail this pack behind Alfonso. Bino all over the back of the Aston Martin. Dylan only half a second off, still keeping within that DRS range. However, less than 2/10 separating the McLaren and the Aston Martin.
It's also very close between Tim and Jordan. Gaps open up a little bit there, but it's just a little bit of a train here, and it will turn into a DRS train. In the next
did Dylan make a bit of a mistake there, or is he lagged out? No, he's ghosted and is allowed Darth FIFA through. Dylan looking for the move immediately, though, down the inside. They do bang wheels, still banging wheels, and around goes the McLaren. I got a perfect, beautiful helicopter view of that. That was... there's a huge crash! There's a huge crash at the penultimate corner. Multiple cars involved.
And it's Tim and Disco Mark. Tim was fighting to get his way into the top 5
and Jordan as well, I think. Wow, that was a moment.
Jordan.
And Charlie's round as well. Incidents happening all over the place.
Yeah, Jordan was battling with Tim. Tim was behind, so I wonder if Tim might have sent it in and just no move was on there. Back to the Dylan incident. In my opinion, racing incident. Dylan stuck his nose in a really difficult opportunity there, and Darth FIFA just said, "I'm going to give back what you gave me." Stuck it up the inside, and unfortunately there was contact. But racing incident, it's a hard racing, but that's what happens. I
100% agree. I had a perfect aerial view of that. Like I do now. There's a yellow flag in sector 2.
It's Dylan again.
It's Dylan again. Maybe those tyres are very, very hot. Might need to drive very cautiously. It's been a manic start to this race for everyone apart from Lewis.
And Yannick, speaking of, is up into P8 at the moment. Top lead Alfa Romeo driver Not a bad start for him. Neither Dammers as well. Hang on, if we have a look quickly at the position changes, Yannick is up 10 places.
Wow,
so Yannick
yeah, 10.
moving his way up the field. And then
LMB,
same for Dammers. Dammers
LMB
up 7.
P6.
Yeah, it's been definitely a good race for these guys, but it also helps the fact that you've got drivers like Dylan dropping 14 places, Tim down 9, Zauber down 8. But the top 3, though, remains unchanged, but they also still remain really close, though, looking at this. Bino and Alfonso, but this just seems like Lewis's track, doesn't it? Every track seems to be like his track at the moment, but 3 seconds ahead, and he's already got one hand, it feels like, on the win here.
A bit of a wobble there for Alfonso. Maybe that was just latency, but it looks very scary on the off-board. We saw that multiple times last week at Silverstone. Bino having a look, he's all over the back. He knows he can go quicker than the Aston Martin, but just can't capitalise. There's another yellow flag, and it's Dylan, again. Similar part of the track to last time as well. A very, very poor race. As Bino's looking for the move now. On Alfonso, side by side going into turn 1. They almost touch wheels on the entry, but Bino, it's a nice clean pass down the inside with the help of DRS.
Also, I'll keep an eye on Dylan just to see what's wrong. If it might be his tyres or its setup could be completely wrong.
Quite possibly. That red flag throwing everything out of the window. Just seems to have calmed.
Pit now. You might pit going hards or something just to try and take it to the end, but no, he stays out. Meanwhile, his teammate, though, under pressure from the Portuguese driver of Afonso.
Oh, wobble there. For the brake.
You can hear the car on the edge of the grip. You can just hear them.
The tyres squealing for mercy. Not much left to give in terms of grip. Staying ahead of the Aston Martin, though. However, not far enough ahead to avoid the risk of a DRS. However, with these two squabbling, this could allow Darth FIFA into the fray, as well as Leroy. Anyway, sorry about that, as Alfonso moves to the inside, and once again, the top 2 swap places. Little bit lower, as Darth FIFA now is almost within that 1 second. He's tantalisingly close. There's maybe a little bit of a wobble there. This part of the track, Bino is very strong. Taking a lot more of a shorter line through that uphill section. Only 3/10 off. Darth FIFA firmly within that 1 second range now. And under pressure from Leroy. If I was Leroy, I would not challenge him. I would just try work with him, try get to the DRS. What's happened here? LMB looks to have had a small incident. Maybe losing it on a curb. He's lost 2 positions to Omar and Yannick. This train now is looking huge. Looking like it's Omar all the way down to Tim. A huge trail forming. No trains, however, can be said for Lewis. Now 5 seconds clear as Dylan spins once again in the second sector for the 3rd time in 4 or 5 laps. 5 seconds being the gap of Lewis to Alfonso, utterly wiping the floor with the field. He looks like he's on his way to Kota already. He's driving like Max Verstappen. Bino all over the back. Darth FIFA with that DRS is now there as well. Leroy hanging back a little bit as the train is forming behind the Aston Martin. The biggest person who'll be happy with this? Probably Lewis. Although he can't really seem to put a foot wrong at the moment. It's just like a nice Tuesday drive for him. Alfonso having a little bit of a wobble, although that might be just the lag. Bino now a little bit back from Alfonso. Alfonso just seemed to pick up the pace a little bit as the sky, I don't really want to say anything, does look to be getting a little bit darker. could we see some rain in the middle to end part of this race? I don't know, as there's Dylan spinning again. That's not going to be doing any good for his tyres. Very soon he's going to be holding up Lewis. Gets through the rest of the second sector cleanly though, unlike on previous laps. As there's a spin as well, that looks to be Vaxi and Disco Mark having a little battle. Yellow flags briefly out there. LMB very, very close to the back of Yannick and Omar. A couple of times, a bit of a wobble on exit though. It's going to cost him on the straight. There's another yellow flag, and that looks to be Vaxi again. Off another incident, possibly with Disco Mark. Bino once again nowhere near close to the Darth FIFA. Could start to sense an opportunity soon, as those clouds continue to darken. As a commentator, I am hoping for rain, but knowing this season, as soon as the rain comes out, it will be straight to red flag racing. Not racing, should I say. LMB and Yannick side by side, banging wheels out of the first corner. Through turn 3, and LMB just about gets it done. Vaxi was again having a small incident. LMB's through, and Alfonso and Bino going side by side up the hill. Ghosting through one another. They literally cannot be separated. Vaxi retires in the pit lane. These two still cannot be separated. Bino side by side, coming onto the DRS straight. He's surely going to send some opportunity into the chicane. What has happened there then? As he's not opened the DRS. Okay. Vaxi has left the session as well, clearly furious with that incident. As Dylan gets a penalty for speeding in the pit lane, that might be his race done too, and yet, as one car retires, the other one is going for P2 in this race for the second time, and once again he runs wide. He outbrakes himself, which allows Alfonso to get back through. Darth FIFA almost sensing opportunities while these four cars barely separated. So has a look at the hill, blazed him into the pits. Has he picked up damage? No, that's a stop on strategy. That's onto the hard tyres. That's him good to the end of the race. Will some of these guys start to come in and look for that undercut? I think it's a very, very tempting opportunity. And with those clouds starting to loom, it only looks overcast now, but in the flick of a switch it could be raining. Will anyone respond to Blaze Tim's early pit stop and try go for the undercut? Bino still all over the back of Afonso. Only 4/10 separating the Portuguese and the Brit. Bit of a wobble out of the penultimate corner for Bino. Afonso, what does he do? He stays out. Bino fakes a dive into the pit lane. Bino gets ever so close to the back of Afonso, as LMB has got past Omar as well. As what's happened here, we're side by side. The yellow flag in sector 1, who's spun? It's LM. Is it? It is LMB. LMB spun Jordan into the pits as well. Dammers up into P8, a very impressive showing from the Haas. Say where he started. Yannick and Omar right close to each other, but just decided to back out. Dylan has left the session. Very frustrating race for him. The red flag at the start not helping his cause. Let's see what drivers decide to do on lap 16. 20 laps to go after this one. Surely they dive into the pits for a set of the hard compound of tyre. I was going to say except for Dylan then, but he's out. Unfortunately for him. Lewis goes up to lap 17, stays out. Alfonso stays out. Bino stays out. Darth FIFA pits and speeds into the pit lane. Wow. That's going to be costly for him. Omar in, Dammers in. Has Darth Vader's left? He's left and it's retired him for some reason. Not sure what's going on here. Darth Vader has left from P4. A very bizarre incident. Not sure what's going on there. But from what I'm seeing, Darth Vader's out. I'm at a loss for words. Okay then. Let's see how everyone reacts. Bino takes into the pit lane again. I missed the fact that Bino got past Alfonso. Alfonso saying, no you don't. Get in that position right back on Leroy. Almost touching the back of the McLaren. A bit of a poor exit does Bino. Yannick into the pits. Does he have a similar issue to Darth Vader? It doesn't look like it. Disco Mac doesn't pit P8. Harry does. Jordan, who already has pit, I believe. Has he? No, he hasn't. Has he? Yes, he has. Jordan in a very good position. Quite a few drivers into the pits. LMB not... Unless LMB... No, LMB is on the hards. This pack of 3 now, not 4. After a very, very mysterious incident with Darth Vader. Well, we see now, it looks like Bino and Alfonso are pitting. The pit windows are both open. We should see 2 cars in this lap. Alfonso comes in. Bino stays out. Bino going for the overcut. And Alfonso speeds into the pit lane. Wow! Alfonso speeds into the pit lane. Miku and has a time battling now. Miku into P4, however, he still has to pit into the position where he finished the last race. The Japanese driver. Oh, it's got to be soul crushing for Alfonso. 5 seconds. You must be thinking it's a joke. A yoke. But that's going to be very, very costly in his battle for P2 in this race. Just a couple of tenths back is Leroy from Bino. What will we see? Bino didn't pit last lap. We should see him in this time, I believe. Rounding the final corner, ERS being deployed. And sure enough, Bino does come into the pit lane. And unlike his Portuguese compatriot, he doesn't speed. As Leroy now has the clear air to go for the overcut. Where does Bino come out in relation to Alfonso? Alfonso coming down the main straight, coming into T1. Alfonso is way ahead. Way ahead. 1.3 seconds. That's a brilliant opportunity to develop a gap. What will we see some drivers do? It's showing that hazard time is expected this time around. Bino has to make up quite a lot of time. However, does have a significant ERS disadvantage. Jordan all over the back of Disco Mac as well. Both of those drivers, actually no, Jordan's pit, Disco Mac hasn't yet. And Jordan making easy work of the AlphaTauri. Possibly a contender for this, for a very good position, possibly a top 5. Only 4.7 seconds behind Alfonso in pace, looking very strong. Bino losing out rapidly, however, to Alfonso. Losing that DRS has proved very costly for the Brit. And Alfonso just looking to push his way, push his way past that 5-second penalty. The gap out in front now up to 10 seconds. However, Alfonso will surely be ahead. Unless Hazard Time is looking to play the ultimate team game for Leroy. And defend like a lion for Leroy to defend that podium position. This could bring Bino into it very nicely. Will Hazard Time play the ultimate team game here? We've seen it before. We have it again. He's had a very, very poor exit. And he holds up Alfonso. Alfonso isn't having any of it. He dives down on the inside of the penultimate corner. And then he comes out and Alfonso spins. Huge damage to the front of the Aston Martin. The virtual safety car is out. A huge incident. Hazard Time into the pits. That is controversial. That is controversial. And this has just thrown a lot of strategies up in the air. What's Alfonso going to pit onto? Surely the mediums. Here's the mediums. Serving that penalty as well, and the safety car is out. It's been a very quick virtual safety car. Not a chance for Lewis or Leroy to pit. Bino, on the other hand, very happy it was a quick one. As what will we see here? Lewis has gone 22 laps on those mediums. Is he going to go for a soft, I wonder? He doesn't pit here. I believe Lewis may be going for a soft. Leroy, what does he do? He stays out. Jordan, 5 seconds behind the McLaren of Bino. That's a heart-wrenching incident for Alfonso. Not having a good season at all in terms of luck. And again, another incident. Harry and Disco Mark having a little bit of battle. I say they're having a battle. It's already been resolved. Dalbert losing a lot of time to Blaze Tim as well. A lot of high hopes. LMB and Dammers going side by side. Through goes Yannick potentially. No, Dammers gets the better exit. However, still side by side going through turn 3. Yannick on the inside. Into Tarzan corner. Dammers has to back out. Yannick through. Brilliant opportunistic move for the Alfa Romeo. And Miku all over the back of Dammers now. Dammers possibly losing quite a few positions. Miku, I'm pretty sure, hasn't pit yet. Has he pit? I don't know. Let's have a look. He has pit. Twice apparently. So he has pit, yeah. One of them would have been the red flag. Lewis stays out again. He's going for the soft tyre, I believe, at the end of this race. Leroy makes the same choice. Bino won't pit. Miku and Dammers side by side into the chicane. Side by side, Miku gets the move done. Brilliant bit of racing from the pair of them. Very clean and respectful. As we see no real battles happening at the moment. Yannick and LMB could... No, not a chance. Oh, I say that, he's dived down the inside. Contract's made, he's barged his way through. Well, don't listen to me apparently, Yannick. Don't listen to me. There's Disco back on that soft tyre. The soft tyre now being a possibility to the end. Fastest lap being set. As side by side up the hill go Miku and LMB. Miku having to back out of that one there. See Miku all over the back of the Mercedes of LMB on that softer compound of tyre. Miku did start on the hard tyre actually. One thing I've noticed, Lewis is in, and as predicted, it is a red-walled soft tyre on the scarlet red Ferrari. It's just something that looks right in the sport. The soft tyre on that Ferrari, it's a combo that not a lot of people can beat. And especially with the gap he has, he only has 7 seconds to make up to Leroy, who still has to pit. He's 3 seconds ahead of Bino still. Miku and LMB side by side through turn 1. Oh, they make contact. How has neither of them spun there? LMB looking at it, he just has to back out. A very, very hard racing between the pair of them. There's Tim and Harry as well, side by side through turn 1. Harry looking for around the outside, but just can't get it. The advantage of that soft tyre is too large compared to the hard. We'll say hard tyres versus fresh soft. There's only going to be one winner. Lewis is destroying that gap between him and Leroy. Leroy surely has to pit. The softs can make it. But no, he leads a lap. Leroy leads a lap in this race on 22 lap old mediums. Surely he can't. Is he hoping for a safety car? There is quite a close pack between Yannick and Dammers. Dammers just about in this train. I say that. He's not actually. Miku side by side with Yannick now. On the main straight, it looks to be an easy pass with the DRS. Miku up into P6, a very, very strong showing for Williams. Jordan up into P4. And looks to be in range of Leroy. Charlie and Disco Mark having their own little battle for P11. Disco Mark has just got past on the fresher softs. A huge range of strategies, and Lewis looks to be gaining at several seconds a lap. Leroy, you're not going to hold on, my friend. Please, Zalba has a spin outside on the exit of turn 1. He gets back going again. Leroy finally comes in and pits. Very slow pit entry as Lewis obliterates the fastest lap. Not that he even needs to. He's so far ahead in terms of pace. He's already gained 3 seconds to Bino on this tyre. Leroy now. Does Jordan get ahead? He does, but I've got a feeling that will not last for long. Jordan on debut, I believe, up into P3. Leroy under a little threat from Omar. But it would, even if Omar got past, it would be worthless fighting it. Blaze Tim and Disco Mark having a battle now. Both on the soft compound of time. Down the inside goes Disco Mark. Just keeps it in. Keeps it in behind. Blaze Tim up into P12. Has Disco Mark had an incident actually? Because he was ahead of Charlie. Who knows? As you see Leroy now very quickly gaining onto the back of Jordan on that immediate fresh soft tyre. It must feel beautiful to drive after driving those mediums for 22 laps. You've got a light car now, you've got fresh soft rubber underneath you. It's going to be an easy pass. He's already gained several tenths just through the chicane. He doesn't even need the straight to get past. That's how good his run was out of the final corner. It's a purple sector 3, possibly to set out now for Bino. He's got 9 seconds in 9 laps. Or is it 8 laps even? No, it is 9 laps, I believe. Is it? Yes, 9 laps. 9 seconds, 9 laps. Can he do it? It's not very old softs compared to fresh... it's not very old hards compared to fresh softs. Miku and Omar having a battle as well as Charlie and Blaze Tim, and Blaze Tim goes round. Miku gets past Omar. The Ferrari in the wall. Rear foot facing forwards. If that was actual F1, he'd probably have a grid penalty for the next race for a gearbox change. But not in this case. Leroy has already gained that second on Bino. Bino must be quaking in his 4 hard compound boots. Going full push, he's pretty much out of VRS. Down to 2%. He doesn't set the fastest lap. He's not very far off it though. 7.4 seconds in 8 laps. Is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 8 laps, yeah. Omar and Miku resuming their battle on the XRT1. Miku just defends it very nicely, up into P5 for the Williams. Gaining possibly quite quickly on Jordan. 3 seconds now separate them. And this train that goes all the way back down to Dammers. Dammers could be alive for a very good result here if circumstances go his way. And that disco mark around on the exit of on the entry of Tarzan. And what is Disco Mark doing? That is a very bizarre incident. Delatraz will be proud. Anyway, Lewis still comfortably in the lead, 10 seconds ahead of Pino now. Leroy, 6 seconds, 7 laps. It's looking good for the Alpine, unlike an actual F1. 1:11.0. He's gained well over a second. That grip, very, very good for him. As there's it looks to be Disco Mark again. His race is essentially over. Just hope he doesn't get in the way of Lewis. He's ghosted, however. So Lewis making light work. 10 seconds ahead. Cruising. A nice Tuesday drive for the Ferrari. Taking an absolute... If he didn't have a stranglehold before, he certainly has now on this championship. As Leroy has now gained 2 seconds this lap. He's hounding the back of Bino. Already 6 seconds ahead of Jordan, who is just very slowly dropping back into the clutches of his teammate. Bino's lap just then a 1:13.5, Leroy's a 1:11.3. The gap under 4 seconds now. Pushing all the way is Leroy. Will those tyres cope with that much pushing? Will they overheat? We've got 5 laps to find out. Sure, this battle and this progression could be made into a reel for the VRP Instagram account, which if you haven't already, me and Scott have already both reminded you, but please drop a follow on that account. Multiple race highlights drop every single week, and I'm sure we'll have quite a few today. Leroy just about at that 3 second range, possibly hoping for a Bino penalty. Oh my kid, he's probably going to get past. Omar all over the back of Miku, who's very slowly gaining on his teammate. Possibly not quick enough, though, to reach him by the end. 2.5 seconds now, split the Alpine and the McLaren. Leroy in a reserve appearance, having a very good race. Very good qualifying. Charlie and Afonso having a battle. Afonso looking to scrape into the points. Omar and Miku once again battling. They're side by side through turn 1. And Omar gets ahead up into the top 5. A very, very strong race from the Brit in the AlphaTauri. Will he look to push on towards Jordan? Or will he just try to defend this P5? Miku not having any of it, almost having a look for the move on the inside of the right-hander. That would be crazy if he did go for it. 2 seconds now. 4 laps to do it. Or 4 and a little bit laps. To gain 2 seconds and get the pass done. It's looking very, very, very good. As you see this battle once again, Miku not getting a very good exit. Are those well, the mediums won't be falling off. Lewis and Leroy made them go over 20 laps, but it's a poor exit. Yannick is closer to Miku than Miku is to Omar. Omar not really making an impression though, and there's a yellow flag. That is Disco Mark again. Leroy not having a good lap. Has he burnt up his tyres? Bino quicker through the first sector. As Ben goes round again. Surely it's too late for a safety car if he's trying to fabricate one, which I don't believe. Very poor race from the AlphaTauri. Same cannot be said for Omar, who's trying to stay ahead of Miku. Not really making much of an impression on Jordan. Miku as Ben spins once again. 1.4 seconds, not a huge gain for Leroy as those tyres do start to age from all that pushing. Miku dives down to the inside on Omar. Inside line looks to be the favoured line, however Omar almost sticks it around the outside, which will give him a better run into Tarzan, but Miku up into the top 5 once again. Very close this train now. Yannick surely is sensing an opportunity. Dammers has slipped back from this train. He might have to consolidate a P9. Ben speeds into the pit lane and retires the 5th DNF of this race, 4th of which in the pit lane, although Darth Vader's was questionable. 1.1 seconds. Did he get DRS on Zauber? He will get DRS on Zauber. That's going to be huge for him as we enter the penultimate lap of this race. ERS has gone and he's now under a second to Bino with 2 laps to go. This is going to be very, very close at the end. Leroy now assisted by that DRS. LMB gets past Yannick. Yannick, who I thought was in a pole position to possibly get into that top 5, but no, he's now in P8. Omar all over the back of Miku. It's been back and forth between these two. It's been a very entertaining race for the top 5. Very, very clean racing. I'm sure they'll both be very happy with this race after it ends. Onto the DRS straight now. Zauber's AI not getting out of the way. Or is that? No, it is Zauber. It's just ghosted lap down. 6/10 now as we go on to the final lap. If you'd have asked me 3 laps ago, I would have said Leroy was the favourite for P2. Now I'm not too sure. I think Bino has a chance here of holding on to this P2 quite spectacularly. Bino picking up the pace where it counts. One crucial thing for Bino is, well, I was going to say the ERS. He also doesn't have any. It's an absolute scrap. Omar gets past Miku on the final lap. Leroy now just 4/10 behind Bino as you see the ghost of Zauber. Super close now. He's on the gearbox. He goes for a move. Bino makes a mistake. He's off the track. And Leroy is P2. A very rare mistake there for the McLaren of Bino. What has happened there? As Leroy's ghosted. I'm sorry, Lewis wins the race. What has happened here? A dominant drive for Lewis, winning by 17 seconds or so. Leroy's run out of fuel. Oh my god. Leroy has run out of fuel. He crawls across the line for P3. Wow. Jordan P4. Omar just takes P5. 500ths ahead of Miku. LMB P7. Yannick P8. Dammers picking up a very good result for him in P9. Hazard looks to be P10. Afonso not quite getting into the points after that earlier incident with Hazard. Charlie looks to be P12. Well, he's slowing down and he lets place him through. Maybe they've had an incident. And Harry makes it across the line this week. Just unlike in Silverstone last week, a very chaotic race. Lewis, after another absolutely scintillating race for him, wins again 16.5 seconds ahead of Bino. That's surely got to be the biggest gap in VRP history. It's Lewis on top again. It's supreme. He didn't lead every lap this race, only because Leroy pitted a bit later than him. Other than that, flawless from start to finish, once again. Bino P2, Leroy running out of fuel right at the end, just gets P3 ahead of Jordan. A very impressive debut from the Spaniard. Omar P5, a very, very good result from the AlphaTauri. His late season form is usually very good. Will we get to see it again? Miku P6, consolidated on that very good result from last week. LMB P7, Yannick P8, Dammers P9, and Hazzetime in P10. A very, very, very high action race, as Zandvoort usually is in league racing. That will be the end of the stream for today. Thank you all very much for watching. We will see you again next week for Kota.